Hey, Shalom, Yeshua, I want to start off as always by giving all praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Kwadash, double honors the apostles of GMS, and honors to you brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. This is a quick one. This is a quick one on something that I hope becomes a thing. Like I said, I'm not gonna speak too much on the stock side of things because actually that's a whole minefield that I'm not really equipped to speak about. So you can do your own research into it. So I'm more doing this video based off of the response that has been coming from Wall Street. Nasdaq is coming out and saying certain things. Apparently the White House is looking at what's happening here. So the hope is that this becomes a thing. Let's hope that this becomes a thing. Okay. It says, explain why regulators may scrutinize GameStop's Reddit-driven retail stock surge. So basically what you're seeing at the moment, you've got this Reddit a team where basically you have they basically pick a stock and then they'll be like, oh, we should all buy this stock or whatever, and then when they're buying that stock, right, the price of that stock increases by quite a bit. Okay, basically makes people excited, and you've got this GameStop. I just read one article which was saying this GameStop got the two biggest investors for this company have basically become like £2 billion richer, right, out of nowhere, basically. Okay, now this has basically got, like I said, the Nasdaq, the guys that own Nasdaq, they're like, oh, we need to control this. Wall Street saying the same thing, and the government saying the same thing, right? And a lot of people are pointing out the hypocrisy that when the hedge fund guys do this sort of stuff, like nobody complains. However, right, and this is the thing, it's what controls are the government going to put in place, right? Like I said, this, I'm only speaking speculatively, right? But, this is basically coming off of, once again, what these different regulators and people are saying. So we'll read a little bit of this, right? It says, Washington shares of video game retailer GameStop Corp surged nearly 700% over the past week as retail investors piled into the stocks, appearing to be urged on by bullish posts in popular online forum Reddit, as opposed to any fundamental changes in the company's financial prospects. GameStop's interstellar surge has sparked calls for regulatory scrutiny. Why? Right, market manipulation. So US law bars the dissemination of false and misleading information with the aim of manipulating investors into buying or selling securities, as seen during a rash of pump and dump schemes during the early 2000s dot-com boom. Right, regulators are likely to explore whether Reddit was used in a similar way after thousands of messages hyped up the stock and urged other investors to hold onto their shares or buy more. So it gives you an example, GME. So that GME will be the trading name of GameStop. Right, is the holy grail. Wrote one user on Wednesday, so we are still going to the moon. It's not too late to buy. So obviously, when more people are buying something, the price goes up. Right, so then goes and says stock exchange holds as wild swings in GameStop shares led to the NYSE to hold trading in the company several times this week, right? But lawyers said there was sufficient marketplace confusion to warrant a longer suspension. Basically, they're saying, look, hey, stop suspend. You basically stop these people being able to buy, right? And the way that because notice how it says retail investors, so you have all of these apps, right, where you can, Robinhood is one that comes to mind. You've got several others, but I forget them all at the top of my head, right? Well, what they basically allow you to do is to pick a stock and then buy, shares in that stock very easily, right? It's one of the reasons I believe, say, your Tesla has basically ballooned because all of the retail investors, what would you call it? All of the retail investors basically are basically buying stock because they believe in that stock, they have faith in that stock. So if they then start putting into place controls, then what happens to stock like your Teslas, right? Tesla grew by, what was it, like $800 billion last year. Was it 800 billion? It grew a lot last year. Right, let's just leave it at that. Okay, Tesla grew a lot last year. Apple's, got the same, because everyone's like, oh, you need to have Apple stock, or you need to have Netflix stock. So let's say that the SEC pulls the plug, right, on all of this sort of stuff. What do we expect to happen? right? Once again, I'm hoping that this is gonna, lead to a market, a market crash. Okay. So let's go through this. So I'm getting like work messages at the same time. So I'm trying to keep attention. Right, it's Ecclesiastes 12:3 says, "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few," and that's going into the lack of jobs. Okay, now obviously this, the current thing, right? That's basically led to a whole load of people losing their jobs, right? And then if this was to come to fruition, right, if this whole market scandal that's happening at the moment, because once again it's like, why is it happening now, right? That is the number one question. And it's like I realized that I had a lot of preamble in the beginning, but I was just trying to build the case, right, of the point here, right? But why of all, I mean, these apps have been out for a long time. Why all of a sudden, right, is it becoming an issue now, right? It says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, right? And those that look out the windows be dark. And so your forecasters, your financial forecasters, looking at, and they're not seeing anything good, right? Now, once again, if this goes any further, right, if the SEC and whatever regulatory body in the States says, actually, we don't want, your everyday Joe to be able to just buy stock so easily, right, to be able to, quote unquote, manipulate stock so easily, because that's the way they'll frame it, right? Then guess what? All of a sudden, everyone, all of those stocks could have a negative thing with their money, okay? So then we read on. It says, "And the doors shall be shut in the streets." Yeah, all these stores, you see them, they're closing, man. Okay, they're closing. Because once again, you have a lot of people that ain't buying anymore. People aren't going to the store, and then really and truly, it's just cheaper to, what do you call it? It's just cheaper to have a warehouse. When you have a warehouse, you don't have to pay funny rent. Your warehouse can be anywhere. Okay. So when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. Okay. We go into the next one. So 2 Ezra 8:50. So for many great misery shall be done to them in the latter time. So for many great misery shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride, right? And you get a lot of these people that have become stock market billionaires. They're doing good, right? They are getting all of this money from this and that way, this, that, and this way, whatever, what have you. Okay, they're proud, right? But guess what? Great miseries are gonna come to them, right? Why? Because everything that they've built shall fall. All of the money that they've amassed for themselves is gonna be taken away from them, right? Because that's the next thing about when you get a crash, right? Because everyone sees you selling, so then you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna sell, right? And then when you sell, then another person, oh my god, those two people just sold, so they sell, and that makes the price tumble. And that's why every now and then you hear about the stock exchange, they've halted trading for the day, this, that, and the other. Okay. And then also the thing about stocks as well, like everyone likes to say Jeff Bezos and this and that guy, the richest guys in the world. But the thing is, if they took all of their shares out in one go, in fact, they couldn't take all of their shares out in one go, right? Because that would quite literally crash the economy, right? Because people will be like, wait, why has Bezos just taken out all of his shares? What does he know that we don't know? Okay. So it then goes on to say, for many great miseries shall be done to them in the world, because they have walked in great pride, right? But yeah, and we kind of goes into something else there, but it said great miseries, right? Things, bad times are coming for these people, okay? Right? Thought I had more than that, but yeah, I mean, let's say, let's just hope that something comes off of this, right? And if not, then hey, it is what it is. But once again, stage is being set for for the downfall of this man's kingdom, right? So as always, it's just a quick one. As always, Lord's word, that was edifying, and yeah, till next time, say shalom.